Hi there, welcome back to the podcast. Here again with Zach.
Hello,
How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Impressive victory yesterday,
Yeah,
and yeah, yeah, I'm happy to be fair. Obviously, we were talking. We also watched games together, and we were talking about we needed West Ham to lose, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. And well, to be fair, there is something I actually have read on, and we just before we started, I didn't tell you about this. I believe if Chelsea finish fifth or just out of the Champions League places and win the Champions League, the Europa League place comes one down. And I'll tell you, I don't really want Chelsea winning the Champions League,
not
but
either.
at the
But
end of the day, it is technically a win-win because if they win it, we get Europa League. If they lose it, then they lose it. Not yeah. In a fan's point of view, it's a win-win. But
that,
as a football club, you have to worry about yourself quite a lot of the time. But yeah, I believe if they come out, if they drop, if they don't go into the top four, win the Champions League, then it comes down a place. So there is still a lot to play for on Sunday.
is that actually true? Because I think they put seven. They usually put seven in on, only at a time. I don't. Did they put 8 nations into Europe? Or usually?
I don't really know, but I think that's all how it will work. I'm not. I think that is true though. I'm not 100% sure, but I am like quite confident that is the way it will go.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the game last night first. It was. I thought in the first half we started off well, got the goal. Then the second half, I thought it was all very slow. And then in the end, we smashed and grabbed it and got the points. Would you agree with me there?
Yeah, I would to be fair. I think we were very solid as a. We looked like, and this is why obviously I still want to back Mikel Arteta and stuff. I feel like once we got into our rhythm, we just looked excellent in the first half. We really started playing some nice little pieces of play. Play that we do see on occasions, but like our problem with Arsenal this year is our consistency. And what we did see was some brilliant phases of play. Obviously, I think our first goal was absolutely outstanding, the link up and all that. Um, and yeah, I just think a bit of brilliance from Pep Martinelli and Pepe at the end that did get us through it. But at the end of the day, I think anyone would say Arsenal deserved to win the game as an overall thingy. I think yeah, second half we lost it a bit. I think yeah, Paris took over for the first sort of 20 minutes, and then it was sort of once us kind of on them on us, and then I think the last 15 minutes it was all on Arsenal to score. Really, we were all over them and ended up getting two goals.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I thought a player who really stood out. I thought there's two players in particular. One of them, of course, we've got to talk about Nicolas Pepe. Now, everyone has been going on about, oh, he's a flop because of the 72 million cost. I think that is absolutely nonsense because the thing is, he always offers something. You can always see what he's all about. And yes, okay, he can be frustrating at times, but he does offer things, and he does try hard. And I think he has shown lately, especially the second half of the season, that if you actually give him a run of games, he is actually a good player. He can gain some consistency. Do you agree with me there? Do you think we're now starting to see Pepe come into his peak?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like um ever since pretty much December, I think he's probably been our best player since December. I think he's probably been our most consistent realistically. I think we got a lot of Saka from like sort of the start of the season until about March, and then since March he hasn't been as great. I think it's ever since he signed that New Balance deal, he's just been off the rails, off the rat,
Yeah,
off the whatever a bit. He's still obviously been very creative, and also football ain't all about goals and assists only. But you know, he, I think Pepe has been very, very good. There's been a couple of times where you have to go, you want to see more. But obviously, I think number one, when he doesn't do the attacking work, he has really improved on working back. And I think I always remember what the 3-0 loss to Liverpool for how much he didn't do attacking wise. He was very good defensively and always helped. I can't remember who was playing left back that game, but always helped the left back.
I think that might have been No, that was Tierney for a bit, and then he went off. Then he went off injured, and I think they put Cedric there. I think
Oh,
that's what
okay.
happened. Oh, but less said about that game, the better.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I really do think and he gets you goals, he gets you assists. I think he does offer. He does really do offer a lot to the side. I just think once you give him a run of games, then it shows how good he can be. And I do think he's definitely going to be an important player next season because he's definitely staying regardless. There's no way we should get rid of him. There are players that we should get rid of, but he's definitely not one of them. I don't feel. Another player who I really thought stood out yesterday was Gabriel. I thought he looked
completely
really, really
agree.
back. Would you agree? Especially that tackle, a crucial tackle he made when he was one on one with, I think it was Benteke? Was it Zaha?
Zaha.
Zaha,
Yeah,
yeah.
and on your point of Gabriel, I think if you give credit to Gabriel as well, um, not a lot of people like to do it, but you got to give massive credit to Holden as well. I think it was more of in the first half. It was a lot of Rob Holden doing the dirty work. Not even me saying Gabriel did badly or anything wrong. It's just it was more on Holden's side. Then they tried to pin it more on Gabriel, and he dealt with it. And I think a few question marks at the goal, definitely. But I think you know what? Sometimes when it's the cross is so good, you've got to listen, as a player, you never want to score an own goal, so you've got to try and twist your body away and flick it away. Obviously, such a strong and big imposing threat like Benteke, it's not going to be easy. And but honestly, everything had to deal with, he done perfectly fine. I still think that should have been a foul, not a goal, not on Gabriel, but on El Neni.
Yeah,
But still, listen, I think they were both centre backs were very very solid last night.
yeah, definitely. And what about Gabriel Martinelli? Obviously, this season he's been he hasn't been used a lot as he probably should be. But again, last night in that short period of time, he proved what he can do. So again,
Well,
for him.
to be fair, I love Martinelli, and not a lot of people might not know this. For how much I do love Saka, I still feel like Martinelli will overall be a better player than him. I just think he honestly will be up there. Like when he gets a couple more years, I think he'll be right up there in like the world and stuff like that. I think he's unbelievable talent. He offers so much. However, last night he did get us the goal, and you've got to be honest. Like, well done to him. Arteta brought him on probably the right time and all that stuff, but he kind of disappointed me a bit. Honestly, in his overall performance, there was quite a lot of times where we got forward and he just didn't look like he wanted to make that darting run in. And I kept thinking to myself, like, why ain't he doing that? But listen, he got the goal, so I can't really be too angry at him. But yeah, that's something I'd say. Like there was about 4 or 5 times where he could have got something from a chance, but just didn't really look like it. But like I said, got us the goal. And that's all that matters. If he gets us a goal every week, I'll take that.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Okay, now looking on to the game at the weekend against Brighton. Now, before we go into our predictions and what we think, I just want to go through this table. Now, looking at the table, obviously we mentioned West Ham have 62 points, and that mathematically means we can't get sixth. And then Spurs and Everton, I believe, have 59 points each, and
Hmm.
Arsenal are on 58, and Leeds United are just behind us on 56. So
Hmm.
again, it really is a battle for seventh place, and I really do not want Arsenal to play in this European Conference League as much as I really do want us to beat Brighton, of course, because I want Arsenal to win every game. But I really don't want us playing in this Conference League. But if you look at these fixtures of the weekend, Everton are away at Man City, and Tottenham are away at Leicester. So it is most likely that we are the favourites to get that seventh spot. But what I would love to see happen is Arsenal win at Brighton, Everton beat Man City, and Tottenham
And
don't
Tottenham
beat
lose.
Leicester. And then
Yeah.
I think that way everyone will be happy. But what are your thoughts on this? Would you want us to be in this Conference League? Would you want us to finish above Spurs? What would you prefer to see happen?
Well, well, it is a good question. To be fair, I think it's the biggest one right now as an Arsenal fan. Well, no, not really. Actually, that's a bit, I think that's a bit of false information. But listen, we all know. the Conference League is not where we want to be or should be. Well, no, we deserve to be there for such a poor season. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, true.
I've been trying to weigh it up the past sort of 24 hours now. Been sort of trying to look at what it offers. Obviously, if you do win it, you only get a spot in the Europa League, which obviously it's not really what you need. I mean, what I said, I actually said this to my dad. I said it would have been better if it was like, if you win this Conference League, you get a place in a knockout game to get into the Champions League or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Just
play
something like that. But seeing as this is only a place in the Europa League and you've got to finish sixth to do that, I think. Listen, the Europa League will now. I don't know really. I mean, it's always good to have a European competition, but it just depends. And I always think to myself, to say if we progress in this tournament, and I used a good analogy today personally. I said, if Arsenal, let's say we were 4 points off the top four with a game in hand, that game in hand on the weekend, but you've got Lazio in the quarterfinals of the Conference League. Who do you play your strongest team against?
I honestly would say for the Premier League.
It's just that's the thing, and then you're going to get put. And then if you play a weak team against Lazio are on a bad side, or even like a Roma or like a Marseille, I believe might be in it, or Real Sociedad. If you play too weak of a team against them, you're probably going to lose. I think I'm wrong. We have a good side, but I feel like it'd be hard to defeat them teams with every player not in our first team. But listen, that's the problem. I feel like if we have a squad depth good enough, I feel like, if you actually look at our team, so I think we could, even if we quickly went over it now, like you got Matt Ryan, if he stays, you've got definitely going to be a right back in there between Cedric, Chambers, and obviously we are, Fabrizio Romano said, so that means 100%. We are 100% getting a right back. So if we're 100% getting a right back, that means we've got Cedric, Chambers, or that new right back in there. Centre back slots, if you don't want to use, like I'd say Gabriel and Holding, you've got Murray, you've got Saliba there. You've also got Chambers, who can play as a centre back. We might be buying a new centre back as well, which has been linked with us. Left backs, we're told to be getting Ryan Bertrand in the summer. So if we can get Ryan Bertrand, that's a left back there. Midfielders, you've got El Neni. If we bring in someone like a Basuma, like an Awar, that means you've got Xhaka there, you've got El Neni there, and then you've got attacking midfielders. You've got like Smith Rowe, and then you can use like a Martinelli and a Balogun, and then a Reece Nelson, and that's a strong team, in my opinion. That is a strong team, but obviously, we'll just have to see what happens along the way, really.
Well, indeed. So it is a bit of a waiting game. Okay, now going into the Brighton game this weekend, obviously, me and you have been very fortunate to get a ticket, which we can't wait for.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you actually line up this game? Because what I'm thinking is that I think we should play players that want to play for this club. Because we know the likes of Ceballos is going, Willian's going, well, likely to go. He hasn't not confirmed. David Luiz is definitely going and might not be fit. Bellerin will most likely be going, again, might not be fit. So I might say, if these players, if the people who we know aren't going to be here next season, don't play them. That is how I look at it. So would you agree with that? If they're not going to be here next season, don't play them. We're still not sure about Odegaard. But...
Okay, so to an extent, I'd agree, because I think there's one player who. Anyway, so I'll tell you my starting 11.
Yes.
So in goal, I'd go Bern Leno. Maybe a bit harsh on Matt Ryan.
Ryan can't, because he's on loan at Brighton.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that is true. So yeah, probably Bern Leno. At left back, I think you've just got to put in Tierney anyway. I don't think there anyone really is there should be playing. I'd put Gabriel in there, and I'd put him next to Holding. I think they were very solid, and I don't why change something when it's not broken. Right back, I'd go Bellerin, because
if he's fit.
Listen, if he's fit, and listen, at the end of the day, he's been quite a disappointing servant for us in the past 3 years. However, he has been here for, I believe, 8 or 9 now. So I'd like to see him get his last. I'd like to see him get his last game at the Emirates in front of the fans, and then we can all applaud him off or give him a little whatever it is they call it now. I don't really know what players deserve or whatever, but just to give him something, just to know, listen, we haven't had the most, we haven't had the best times, but we've had some good times with him, you know. Um, my memories of him when he broke onto the scene. Two memories that straight away come into my mind was, well, a memory that straight away comes into my mind was his first goal against Liverpool, where he cut
Second,
inside on his left foot,
second.
bent it in. The Chelsea goal where he cut inside, bent it in.
Oh yeah, that's
The volley against Chelsea at the Emirates. So many memories of him. Obviously the FA Cups and stuff like that with him. So yeah,
yeah,
I'd like to see Bellerin get a good send off from the Arsenal fans. It's been a bit of a rocky road, but I think that's what he deserves as a player. Always gave it his all for the club, even though he's not the greatest. He has always gave it his all, and you've got to admit that. So I'd like to see him play. In midfield, I'd like to see Partey and Xhaka. Hopefully, we can get that partnership back and rolling. I thought when Xhaka came on yesterday, he looked absolutely superb. And by the way, it's not really to be harsh on any either, because Elneny's been brilliant for us past couple of games. I think last night he really controlled it again with Partey. It's a midfield partnership we've seen. I don't think it's been lost with yet. Obviously the two that come to mind are the Man United game and the Chelsea away game. Both 1-0 wins, solid. But I'd go Partey and Xhaka in there. I think right now that is definitely our strongest midfield pairing. On
definitely.
the right, I'd go Pepe. On the left, I'd go Martinelli. Down the middle, I'd go Smith Rowe, and up front, I'd go Aubameyang. That's how I'd go. So nice and strong.
Yeah, yeah. I pretty much agree with. I agree with that. To be fair, I don't think I can I don't think I can disagree with that. I think yeah, I think that's a good team that we should go with. Play players that want to play, still go strong, still try and get the win, regardless of what it could mean in the table. But yeah, still got to try and go there. And also, let's give the fans something to see, because it's been a disappointing season for us, both on
100%.
both with the Arsenal and also away from the stadium, where we've not been allowed to see our teams, bar a couple of games in December, but still it's not. It's been a rough time for the fans, and also protests going on. So it just hasn't been a good season. So just go there and just try and end the season with, give the fans a little something to smile about, going to the team, watching their team play, and you just have to rebuild and just make the right changes, get the people out that we need to do and just rebuild for next season, because next season is very, very important that we do well and we bounce back. We cannot go down as another waste or another season of just saying, oh, there's signs of improvement. We need results. We really need results. And if you actually look at it, is that I saw a stat today that since Emil Smith Rowe has come into the side, we've actually come being the second best
Second
team.
best team. Mm-hmm.
Now, whenever I look at these stats, I always say, yeah, that the league's across 38 games, and if you do see many of those stats, it does show signs of improvement, but we need consistency, and we need results, because if you actually really look at this season, apart from Man City, no one has really, really, really set it alight. Even Liverpool have struggled a lot, and it really goes more down to these games that we shouldn't have slipped up. Remember the game against Fulham, where we just about scraped a draw. The two games against Burnley, one of them we lost, one of them we drew. That was big points dropped. So it's more those type of games that really coming back to haunt us, because if we won them, we could have easily been competing for a Champions League spot. And some of these other games that we've slipped up, Palace at home, that was a bad slip up. Wolves away, where we got completely robbed, and Wolves at home, and also Wolves at home as well, when we lost, when we shouldn't have done. It was a poor performance. And the games against Villa, you see, it's more those type of games that have really just come back to bite us. And these are the sort of games we need to put right. And we have improved against the big six, apart from against Liverpool and Man City this season. We have actually done well against the big six, so you can actually see signs of improvement there, because before we used to get battered every time away from home against the big six, but we've gone to Man United and win, we've gone to Chelsea and won. So we beat Tottenham at the Emirates. So And also, we haven't beaten Everton this season. They've done the double over us, and in both those games, Everton weren't great. We literally just handed them. So those kinds of things we have to sort out. But what do you think that is down to, Denny? Do you think it's a mentality problem? Do you think it's a player? Do you think it's a manager? What do you think has gone wrong in that sense this season?
Yeah, I think we've spoke about it a lot, to be fair, as Arsenal fans overall. What is the problem at Arsenal? And I think there is so much wrong. And I feel like, we can make them right. You just have to do the right things at the right time. Obviously, I feel like, listen, it sounds so unrealistic and it sounds a bit optimistic as well. But next season, I'm sorry, our aim should be going for the Champions League. Listen, it's going to sound ridiculous because we're so far away right now, but you have to be, as a fan and as a player, you've got to think to yourself, look, listen, we're not going to win the Premier League. We're not going to win the Premier League. I think we all know that. But listen, I feel like, look, you've got Man City there. And then I think Liverpool will be back next season. I think they'll be back fighting for it. And then you've got a Man United team, a Chelsea team, a Leicester, West Ham, Tottenham, Everton. They're the teams that are above us right now, and I think they're probably the only teams that are capable of finishing above us. I think this is where the lowest will be ever, because I still feel like we're quite a few steps ahead of Leeds. Villa
Oh,
are a bit of a weird
oh
one.
yeah,
We're
we're
st- we're steps ahead of these teams. I don't think we will be coming down more or anything. I think this is our rock bottom, and I hope it is, because obviously
so
you don't want it to go any lower. But
can't take another season either.
listen. If you look at every team here, they're all very, very weak. In obviously some instances, I've seen with West Ham. So Man U we've beaten, Chelsea we've beaten, Liverpool. I don't think we've finished above them. Leicester we've beaten. West Ham we've got 4 points on. Tottenham we've beaten. Everton we haven't beat them, but as Arsenal fans, I think as Arsenal, I believe that is the best team we've beaten, and the most amount of get the the most amount of wins for Arsenal against the Premier League team is Everton. It might be them or West Ham. I think it's Everton though. There's many reasons why we could beat Everton, and I think player to player we probably do have the better team. If you actually weigh it up, people might disagree with that, but if you're being realistic, we do.
We do.
And listen, it's going to sound unrealistic, and people will probably look at this and go, I don't really agree with that. But listen, there are many teams that can slip up, us included, of course, but you have to look. And I think from first to second, apart from that, no place is guaranteed in the Premier League. And if you get your wins together, you can do it. You really can do it. And listen, you have to beat the smaller teams. You have to beat them. You have to beat them with conviction as well. You actually look at the bottom three. We've picked up from both games, obviously home and away. I think we've picked up 16 out of 18. Apart from a draw against Fulham, we've beaten them.
Correct.
We haven't beaten Burnley this season. We've beaten Newcastle and Brighton. No, we've beaten. Well, yeah, Brighton obviously got
Yeah, we
on
beat
Sunday.
Brighton
We've,
once.
we done the double over Newcastle. Southampton we drew against at the Emirates, and they've been terrible, not good enough. Crystal Palace, obviously last night we won, but we drew against them at home, not good enough. Wolves done the double against us, and they've had an awful season, not good enough. Villa done a double against us, and it looked like they were having a rosy season, but I think they've actually won 6 games in 28.
Yeah, they haven't been.
So
They've dipped as of late.
not good enough there. Leeds away, I don't know how we didn't win that. Well, partly because of Pepe, and like probably since then as well, Pepe has been really shining for Arsenal. And I just feel like if you pick up lots of points against the smaller teams, gradually get them against the bigger teams. So I'm not saying we're going to have to beat every single team, and along that way we probably will draw two, lose two, or something like that against these smaller teams. It happens. It's football. You're not going to beat everyone, but you need to start beating teams a bit more comfortably as well. And and I think this is where I have to criticise Arteta. Don't try and overcomplicate it against these big teams. Just let your players play, and because they're good enough, they will be able to beat them. Obviously, I'm not saying like it is all Arteta's fault, but there have been a few things where we have to question. But listen, beat the teams that are below you 100%, with an exception to a couple of results, and the teams above you, you're allowed to drop a couple of points against them.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you. We just need to see big signs of improvement next season, and we need results. And then we'll do better next season. But next season has to be a better season because it
100%.
does look like Mikel Arteta's going to stay, whether you agree with it or not. Fair enough. But it does look like it's going to be the outcome, and he's going to be under massive pressure because if things don't go our way with fans back in the stadium, it's going to get bad, and we could possibly see him out of the job very soon if things don't pick up. So I'm sure he knows that as well. But at the same time, he needs backing from the people above. He needs to get these players that he wants and get the teams running. Then we have to go again. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it. I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Danny. Anything else you want to add?
Well, let's just hope now Sunday, um, we have a good day, as Arsenal fans. That's what we deserve. Listen, it's not been the rosiest season, but it's not going to be this way next season. We hope. And I'm confident for next season. If we get the right players in, I think we can push. We can push because if we're real about the obviously rival fans won't want to admit it. If you're real, if you add up this Arsenal team, there is a lot of quality there. Just get it together, get it glued together, and we can see ourselves be much better in a much better position. But yeah, that's it from me. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Reds.